Then obviously you would decide with your client how much you're going to be taking off. You need to make sure you've got nice tight tension, hold the hair down and then cut the required amount off. In your 2 fingers here. Okay? And then carry that all the way across the back. Okay, and there you go. It's your first guideline cut. All nice and straight, all correct. Okay, when you're happy with the amount of hair that you've cut and you're happy with your guideline, you then go on to the next section. And again, you've got a nice straight section at the back of the head. So you can see across here, it's a nice section. Again, tilt the head forward, and when you comb your hair down, you should see your guideline underneath the hair. And again, cut the required amount off. You must make sure you stand parallel to the back of your client with your feet, hips apart, so you are standing correctly. If you don't, your haircut will be affected. And again, all nice and straight again. And you're going to keep working up the rest of the head. So I'm just going to carry on. Making sure the sections you take are not too wide. If you can't see your guideline underneath and your section's too wide and you need to take some hair away. And can you see while I'm sectioning, I have my comb in my hand and I don't have my thumb in my scissors. Just going to spray it down, it's drying in here. You must make sure the hair's all wet because it affects the tension of the haircut if it's half wet, half dry, because of something called natural elasticity. All hair has natural elasticity, and hair always stretches when it's wet. So it's really important that you either cut the hair dry or you cut the hair wet. And in terms of accuracy, you are far better to cut the hair wet. And while you're cutting, you need to think about hair texture and type, and that's something you would do in your consultation with your client. Find out what they want, what hair type have they got, can they have what they've asked, does their hair let them? If not, then you would need to recommend a style that does suit them. Okay, so I've just done that next section and I'm just going to work all the way through the back now. Again, make sure these sections are correct at the top and they're nice and straight, because again that will affect your haircuts. If you've got longer bits or shorter bits, it might be because of your sectioning. And also make sure that the client's head is down at all times. If they start to talk to you, just make sure you recheck that the head is actually down and looking at the floor. Okay, I'm going to bring the last section down. And again, make sure that you've got all the hair combed correctly from the top of the head. There's no bunches or tangly bits or anything. The hair must be combed all the way through from the top down. While you're cutting, you need to be careful of something called knuckle marks. And what that is when you cut too far up your fingers, you get little rounded, at the end you'll get little rounded pieces of hair. And that's knuckle marks, because really you should actually only cut up to here. But we all go to there, so then you get those knuckle marks. So you must just make sure that you actually get rid of those. Okay, so that's the back. Let's just lift that up and show you. So you can see that that's all one length at the bottom as well. And how you would check that is obviously just with your fingers, pull that down and just check that it's level. Okay, now we're going to go on to the sides. And I get the client to slightly tilt for me. And you take, again, like you did the back, a small ½ inch section. Like this. Comb it down, make sure there's no knots. And what you'll see is the length that I've cut and the length at the sides, so you've got your guideline. Okay, so using your guideline at the side, that will help you with what needs to come. The guideline at the back will help you with what needs to come off at the sides. Okay, and just check that you're happy that there's no corners or knuckle marks. Just check. And then you can now see that's all one length. Okay, so I'm going to work my way up. I'm going to work my way up the sides in the same way as the back. And you can just freehand cut any little wispies if you see them. So 2 more sections. You're looking at 4 to 5 sections that you should take from the side. Like I said, if they're too wide, you won't see your guideline. section. Make sure you get any knots out. Okay, and that's one side done. So you can again see that that's all now one length. So I'm going to move to the other side. And again, tilt the head. And take another 1/2 inch section from the bottom. Making sure you've got your guideline from the side, and then clip the rest of the hair out of the way. You can use these clips, which are bulldog, or you can use flat clips. Some spray down again, like I said, keep that hair wet. And then you can see there's my guideline, and here's the hair that I need to cut. And you can see I'm holding the hair at 0 degrees, I'm not lifting it up. As soon as you lift it up, you're going to get graduation, which is not what we need on a 1/8 cut. Okay, when you're happy with that, take your next section. And then I'm going to take 2 more. Again, make sure you comb it tight from the top up here, and make sure that there's no bunches or knots, because that will affect your end result. And then I'm going to bring my last section down. Again, make sure it's nice and tight, combed from the top. And then just comb and check it, and if there's any little wispies that you find at the bottom, you can freehand cut those. And there you have a 1/8 cut. So what you need to do now is check it, and how you do that is by making sure